Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you I don't know, my name's Jim Anderson. I have the privilege of serving the customers of Cox Health. And today I have the privilege of serving as your Master of Ceremonies for the Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Awards Luncheon. And I do welcome you to the 8th Annual Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Luncheon. Today, of course, we're honoring the class of 2017, Gary Peanut Adams, Mark Arnoldy, Gary Presley, and Patricia Presley. Each of our award recipients has taken the solid foundation of a quality education earned from Springfield Public Schools and has transformed personal passions into professional successes. This event, of course, would not be possible without the generosity of our sponsors. I'd like to take a moment to thank our platinum and gold and silver sponsors, and please hold your applause until I've had a chance to list them all. We thank you to our presenting sponsor, 417 Magazine. Other sponsors include Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, AdSmith Marketing and Advertising, KY3, Maddox New Prater, Esserly Snyder and Associates, Positronic, and Ozarks Coca-Cola Dr. Pepper Bottling Company. Help me thank our sponsors for making today's luncheon possible. I would share with you my personal conviction, and that is education is everybody's business. What's good for education, I believe, is good for business. And what's good for education and business, I believe, is good for community. Together, I think we can build the future. Public education is really, I think, a community issue. Further, public education is a community responsibility and commitment. And together, I believe we can and will build the future. The Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, led by Executive Director Madeline Murdoch, works every day to support the mission of Springfield Public Schools. Thanks to its donors, the Foundation places resources directly into our classrooms, allowing teachers to provide learning experiences for students that impact their life today as well as into their future. While your meals are being served this noon hour, we'd like to show a brief video highlighting the Foundation's work, followed by remarks from Foundation President Matt Simpson.
I was a student in Springfield Public Schools, kindergarten through 12th grade, and I had a really wonderful experience. And so I think it's really important to give back to that community that did so much to get me where I am now.
More so than any other funding source for Springfield Public Schools that we are able to tap into, the Foundation is able to break down the walls of our school. Teachers are able to ask for things above and beyond normal supplies to give experiences to students that we would none otherwise be able to see and to tap into and to use.
The Foundation is a great support mechanism for our kids and our teachers. From our back-to-school grants that really fill gaps for our classrooms to scholarships for our kids, the Foundation is a conduit to help us find success for our students.
In 2016, we participated in the study of Foundation supporting K-12 public education. We were in the top 10, which provided us ratification that we have done, we are doing, and we are focused on what we need to be.
I think one of the great things about supporting the Foundation is that we do have programs like Pick a Project and like Back to School, where you can really kind of look and see what project you're supporting, look and seeing the innovative ideas that teachers have come up with, pick which one you'd like to support, and then really see the results of that in a meaningful way.
Whether it be for $600 for Skype or a webinar for a class, or if it is $1,500 for a cultural kaleidoscope, where we have another culture coming in for a full day to teach and work with the kiddos. We've received some Foundation grants for anything my teachers can think of. They're far more creative than I am. And the sky's the limit because they know the support is out there with the Springfield Foundation, that they're going to grab a hold of it and do it because it's what's right and best for kiddos.
Well, I think everybody ought to make an investment in their community, first of all. I choose education because I believe at the end of the day, having a well-educated workforce is the foundation of the community's future.
Gifts to the Foundation are important because education is so much more than what happens in the classroom.
For me, being a donor and volunteer for SPS is giving back to the people that got me here where I am today.
I had great experiences at the school district myself, and I'm going to support that for my kids and everyone else's kids in the community.
Thank you so much to the Springfield Public Schools Foundation. What you do makes us breaking down walls of the school possible.
Thank you, Foundation!
Good afternoon, everyone. The Foundation for Springfield Public Schools is very proud to sponsor this wonderful event that recognizes the achievements of our truly outstanding alumni. In the video, you just saw the great work that is happening throughout our school district through your support of the Public School Foundation. Just briefly about the foundation, today we manage over 147 different funds totaling more than $5 million, which benefit our schools in a variety of ways. Just last month, we awarded over $276,000 to schools across the district through our Back to Schools program. In addition to our grants and scholarships, we regularly work with alumni to keep them connected with the elementary, middle, and high schools that have played a role in making them who they are today. I'd invite any fellow graduate of Springfield Public Schools to learn more about the foundation and find out how you can help update your alumni information through our alumni program by visiting our website that's found at the brochure at your seat. And if you're not a graduate of SPS, but you believe in the power of public education and want to support, we'd encourage you to visit too. So on behalf of the Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, I'd like to congratulate each very deserving inductee today and thank you all for your contributions to the world. So this time, please enjoy your lunch and enjoy the musical talents of Central High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move forward with the festivities. Please go on enjoying your meal. My name is John Jungman, Superintendent of Springfield Public Schools, and it's my honor to be with you today. For the past 150 years, we've been providing an education for the children of Springfield and have graduated thousands of students along the way. Today, it's a pleasure to honor 4 of our outstanding alumni. You probably already know some of our inductees, but if you don't, by the time you leave here, I hope you'll know them better and come to appreciate all they've done for our community, our state, and our nation and our world. Before we get to them, though, as we are celebrating this 150th anniversary of Springfield Public Schools, I'd like to take a moment and just, if you are one of those graduates out of one of those 150 years, please stand up so we can honor the Springfield Public Schools graduates. Awesome to have so many outstanding graduates in our room. I know we could talk about each and every one of you and all the great things that you're doing. But we're going to get to the 4 people being honored and recognized today. So please continue your meal as we recognize them and their guests. Class of 2017 Hall of Fame inductees, please stand and stay standing while I call your name. Mr. Gary Peanut Adams. Peanut and his wife, Michelle, have 2 daughters, Mackenzie and Mallory. Thank you for joining us today. Mr. Mark Arnoldy. Mark is joined today by his parents, Stan and Becky Arnoldy. Thank you for being with us. And Mr. and Mrs. Gary Presley. Gary and Pat, please stand up. They brought a cheering section. I love that. Gary and Pat have 3 sons, Greg, Eric, and Scott. Thank you all for being with us today. Such a special day for Springfield Public Schools to honor you. All of our inductees have made concessions in their personal lives to accomplish what they have in their professional lives. Each of them have sacrificed for the benefit of others. As I reflected on their stories, a common thread of providing for others ran through the fabric of each of their individual successes. Their work and passions have made and will continue to make the world a safer, happier, and healthier place. One risked his life to provide safety for those he has sworn to protect. One works to ensure others have access to health care. something most of us in this room often take for granted. Two of our inductees provide an emotional escape when a diversion from the events of the world around us is really needed. All four are deserving of this recognition and they are receiving today, and so much more. As a school district and as a community, we are honored to celebrate with you and say thank you for the positive difference that you are making in our world. Give them one more large hand. In addition to these honorees, we have a couple previous Hall of Fame inductees with us tonight, so please stand as I call your name. Please help me welcome Hall of Fame class of 2012, representing Kickapoo High School, Charles Armstrong. And from the class of 2015 Hall of Fame class, representing Glendale High School, Susan Provence. Thank you both for being here. The accomplishments of all of our inductees, current and past, demonstrate what can be achieved when students are provided an engaging, relevant, and personal learning experience. Each of you are a living testament of what is possible when the potential within each of our students is ignited. We are fortunate to have several current SPS students with us today that I know will be inspired by your inductee stories. They are here as special guests, ushers, musicians, and escorts for our inductees. If you're a current SPS student, will you please stand and let us recognize you? Current students, stand up. Thank you for being here. We're hoping there's a Hall of Fame member in that crowd right there. I bet the talents will just surprise us as they continue to do great things in their schools currently and in their future. Good luck, students. I would also like to recognize one other group of special people, and that's our school board. These 7 volunteers donate their time, their talent, and their expertise to ensure that our students are provided that engaging, relevant, and personal experience, every learner, every day. Their work directly impacts our students and our community, our 25,000 kids that attend our schools every day. Board members, please stand as I call your name. President Jerry Lee, Vice President Jill Patterson, Dr. Denise Frederick, Dr. Alina Leonard, Mr. Bruce Renner, Mr. Tim Rosenberry, and Dr. Charles Taylor. These 7 members, please give them a hand. It's truly a pleasure to partner with you as we serve this community. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each of you in attendance today. Because of your continued support of our school system, we will continue to make a difference in the lives of our 25,000 kids. Jim, if you'll come back to the stage, I think it's time that we learn a little bit more about our inductees.
John, thank you very much, and we thank Matt earlier for his comments as well. Before we formally begin and honor the inductees for 2017, I'd like to recognize the individuals who served on the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for their time and effort in selecting the class of 2017. We have several with us today, so if you're a member of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, would you stand? Let's recognize these men and women with our applause, and thanks very much for your effort. Thank you. In addition to today's ceremony, Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame inductees will be recognized through a plaque dedication, and those plaques will be proudly displayed on the walls of Central, Hillcrest, and Kickapoo High Schools. An additional plaque with their names will also be displayed at Craft Administrative Center. Now the moment we've been waiting for. Some of you know our inductees very well. For those of you who do not, you're in for an honor as you learn who they are and the impact they're making on our world. I'm certain all of us will enjoy hearing about their lives as students, as well as their professional and personal accomplishments. So let's begin. Our first inductee, Gary Peanut Adams, is a 1988 Central High School graduate. Being on a team is part of Peanut Adams' DNA, as a member of the Central High School and University of Arkansas football teams, as a member of a Secret Service protection team for former presidents, or as a part of a team in the role of husband, dad, son, brother, or friend, Peanut always takes his duties seriously. I would direct your attention to the screens and join me in watching a video which highlights Peanut's life through interviews with those who know him personally as well as professionally.
Gary Peanut Adams. We met him at the University of Arkansas, and tremendous athlete. Really could play basketball very well. Excellent quarterback. He could play free safety. He was athletic enough to play on either side of the ball. But the biggest thing, he was a tremendous teammate, and he had great character, great integrity, tremendous work ethic, and just a great person to be around. It's not easy to be the quarterback at the University of Arkansas. All eyes are on you. You get the most credit when you win, and you get the most credit when you lose. But I love the way he handled things, and he handled it with, just a championship attitude. It's fun to see. You see young men when they're in college, and then you fast forward 10, 15 years past that, and you see a successful guy. And it goes back to all those traits that he had, the integrity, the character. It'd be really easy to say his greatest accomplishment is playing football for a major university, playing basketball, or getting that scholarship, or protecting the President of the United States. That has to be very, very high. But to me, his greatest accomplishment is being the father, being that loving husband, being the daddy of those two beautiful girls, and always being there, and somebody that you can always count on. That to me is the greatest thing ever.
Well, I first met Gary when he was a seventh grader. I was at that time I was coaching at Pleasant View, and of course he was our competition at the time. So I met him, and I said, hey, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to stop this young man. Because he was kind of like a man among boys. I'd like to say, Gary, congratulations. Well overdue. You well deserved. You brought a lot to Springfield as far as athletic-wise. You also was a good role model for all the students within school while you was there. And by being so successful, then you also give the other students something to strive for. You also let them know that there's more in life than just sports.
I first met Gary Peanut Adams during the course of our employment. We're both Secret Service agents. When we first met, it was, first impression was he was just real personable, real friendly, and came up, gave me a hug. Seemed like we'd known each other for years, even though we'd only, talked on the phone a few times. But that's Peanut. That's just the kind of guy he is. I think for Peanut, his motto would basically be "Get it done." Again, whether it's work or home, he's always he never sits still. For him, I think getting it done. Again, his dedication to whatever it is he's doing is again it's very impressive. He's just all around impressive guy. I think Peanut's motivation comes from home. I believe it's his wife and kids. It's just the same with me. It's they're the reason we go to work. And for him to be able to see his wife is successful, his daughters are successful. That's his his motivation. His being able to get to a position where he can see his girls succeed, see what they do. Go to practices, and just watch them grow.
Good afternoon. My name is Roland Young, and I get the privilege of introducing my cousin, Gary Peanut Adams, to the 2017 SPS Hall of Fame. As I pondered what to say to ensure I gave Peanut his due diligence, it occurred to me that after spending 23 years in corporate America and now teaching a critical thinking skills class for 8th graders and coaching football and track, that we had a lot in common. First of all, it takes a village. And you see a lot of the members of that village here with us today. But just as, if not more importantly, we took responsibility for our own successes and failures. I try to teach my kids this every day in the form of executing what Gary did so well and others that you've heard about, and that is the roadmap to success called, I call it, pride. The P stands for passion, persistence, perseverance, a never say quit attitude. The R, respect, rigor, and resiliency, overcoming all obstacles, demanding that respect, yet earning it. The I, integrity. We've heard a lot of those acronyms used for Gary today. He was honest and true not only to himself, but to others. Intelligence, the importance associated with a great education that SPS has offered a lot of us. And being intense about your success. The D, dedicated, determined, yet disciplined to do the things he needed to do when others weren't watching. And finally, the E, excellence, personal excellence, doing his best in everything he did and providing no excuses and understanding that education is the key to success. It gives me great pleasure, Peanut, to welcome you back home under these circumstances. Now, welcome to the stage, 2017 Hall of Fame inductee, Gary Peanut Adams, escorted by Central High School student Emma Dawson.
Wow. I don't know if I can even follow any of that just took place. First and foremost, I want to give honor to God because without him, nothing that I've done or will do in my life would be possible. My background, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit here in a minute, but I've had so many people throughout my life from when I was a kid that I don't even know until now that are still praying for me. So thank you so much. And like I said, I'll explain a little bit later. I want to give a thank you to my coworker, Sean Mundy. He was on here on the video. Coach Houston Nutt was a former coach of mine at University of Arkansas. Coach Eddie Thomas, he was one of my coaches there at Pipkin coming through. And then Scott Purrier, I don't know if he's here or not, but he was Springfield News and Leader. And I thought he was going to be on the video, but he wasn't. But I want to give thanks to him. When I got inducted into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, he was one of the individuals that I kind of left out, and I didn't mean to. It was a mistake. But Scott left. He kept me in the news media, even when I was gone. And so I want to give him a special thank you. And regardless of what my boss says, so please nobody repeat this, but the president says fake news and fake media, but I want to give Scott credit because what he said about me, I hope wasn't fake. So thank you, Scott. And Roland, thank you so much, my friend, cousin. He's of course he's a graduate of Central, but he was a role model for myself because he was older than I was, but it was someone that we could look up to that went on to play college football and had some success, and so the younger generation, especially in our neighborhood, that could look up to and follow. On behalf of my family, my beautiful wife Michelle, my two beautiful girls Mackenzie and Mallory. My mother, Carletta, my sister, Deanna, and my brother, Howard, and my dad, Gary Sr. I'm honored and humbled to be up here before you today to accept this award. I also want to offer congratulations to Mark Arnoldy and Mr. Gary and Miss Patricia Presley for being inducted also. What a great honor and a great group to go into the induction with. I want to give a special thanks to my sister, Deanna, especially Miss Teresa can attest to this. I don't know if you all know Miss Teresa, but she kind of coordinated a lot of the stuff that's taking place today. But a lot of times she couldn't get a hold of me, and there was deadlines to be met. And so my sister kind of took the bulls by the horns, and she facilitated a lot of stuff and kind of took charge of this thing. So I want to send a special thanks to her. I also want to take a second to honor someone that's pretty special to me. I found out 3 weeks ago today that he is when he passed, but Dan Penner, I want to give a special thanks to him. He was my next door neighbor, our next door neighbor when I was growing up, and he actually is the one that got my brother and I signed up for football. My mom, every time we asked, could we sign up? No, can't sign up. No, you can't play football. And so she left. She had a doctor's appointment one day, and so Dan snuck us down to Smith Park around the corner and signed us up. And so when my mom got home, we were dressed in helmets and shoulder pads, and she was like, "You got to take that stuff back." He says, "Too late. We've already signed him up." So throughout my career, he would call her and say, "Are you still mad at me? This is what we started." So I want to send a special thanks to him. Like I said, I was hoping that he could hang on a little longer, but he passed away 3 weeks ago. So I know he's looking down, and I want to say thanks, and I love him. His wife, Miss Jenny, is here, so I want to thank him. Also, like I said, people that prayed for me. When I was a teenager, like I said, growing up, people that just continue to pray for me over and over. And, they'd see me, we're praying for you. I'm praying for you and your family, you and your wife, your kids. And every time I would talk to my mom, she would say the same thing. So I just want to send a special thanks to those individuals. Bishop Knox, he's at the table here with his wife, Sister Knox, Miss Jean Lee Duke. She's also here. And Mr. Gary Stafford and his wife, Miss Frances Stafford, they're both here. Miss Ina Graham, I want to say thank you to her. And Miss Gwen Marshall, I'm not sure where she's at. Miss Gwen, I want to send a special thanks to her too, because she's done a lot on my behalf, probably a lot more than I know. So I want to say thank you to her too. But also, but not least, my grandmother, Gloria Fuel. She was my neighbor, and she's my mother's mother. So she pretty much helped raise us. So I want to send a special thanks to her, but she's no longer with us. So I want my mom to stand just for a second. And I apologize. I don't know if this is the norm, but I just want to honor her because this is a prestigious award, and I'm honored to be celebrated. And I'm very excited, but I'm more excited for her, if that makes sense, because she's someone that is such a special person in my life, and I can't even begin to tell you how special. She raised 3 of us by herself. My mom and dad divorced when I was 5 years old, and so there was plenty of time, so many times that she would do without. She would miss meals. She would, there might be something that she needed that she wouldn't buy, so we could have, shoes, clothes, so forth. So, like I said, she's the Hall of Famer in my book because she made sacrifices, and people don't see that. They see things that I did, that was celebrated, but behind closed doors, that was the person that was my backbone, that stood behind me, every day, still stands behind me. So I just want to send a special thanks to her. You're special in my heart, and like I said, you're the Hall of Famer in my book, and I love you more than you know. So thank you. I also want to, and I didn't realize this until I came in, but my college roommate's here, Dr. Owen Kelly. He's an orthopedic surgeon, so I want to say thank you to him. We were roommates for 4 years, and I tell you what, I don't think I've ever met a smarter person in my life. He stayed every session of summer school, never went home, And he paid the price, as a young man, and now he's reaping the benefits of that. But like I said, he's an orthopedic surgeon now, and I love you, and I'm so glad that my sister found you to come, and I appreciate it. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background, and I know this is supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes, so I apologize, but I'm trying to rush through it. But I graduated from Central High School in 1988. I went to the University of Arkansas, majored in criminal justice and minored in sociology. And like any athlete, your main goal probably is to go pro. And I didn't do that, and I'll get to that in a second. But looking back, there was a plan for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but there was a plan, and we all have a plan. But it kind of went a little different from what I thought it would go. But anyway, I spent 8 years with the Arkansas State Police and 16 years with the Secret Service. And my wife, Michelle, she wasn't able to come, or neither one of my daughters, but her mother is here, and I want her to stand for a second. Her name is Virgie Dixon, but anyway, my wife is not here. But I just want to tell you how special my wife is. She's not only my best friend, or my wife, but she's my best friend. She's my queen. But she's had to sacrifice over and over and pretty much raise my girls like a single mother in a sense, because I've traveled so much. I've been all over the country. And I just want to give her a little credit, because people don't know what it's like to be married to someone that's always on the road and traveling and doing things. But she's a special person, and so I wanted to say special thanks to her and let you know what kind of daughter you have. She's been behind me 100%. So I want to say thank you to you, Virgie. And also my girls. My oldest, she's a senior at SMU. She's wanting to major in, or she wants to go to physical therapy school. And then my younger one, she's a senior in high school, but she will sign with San Diego State next month, so she'll attend school there. But my influence, growing up as a minority in the area that we grew up in, you don't really have a lot of role models, I guess. You do, but you don't really know them personally. And I know, looking back, there was a lot of people that had went on to do some successful things in life. But one person that stood out more so than anybody to me, and I grew up watching him on TV, and he was eventually one of my coaches at Central, but Raymond Hairston, and I don't know how many of you know him, but he was one of those individuals that, as a young black man myself, growing up, he was someone that I could look up to, because growing up, you have no idea what your plan is in life, what you're going to do, where you're going to go. But watching him gave me that desire or want to, knowing that, you know what, I could do the same thing he's doing. And like I said, no disrespect to the older generation that was there, but he was one person that I actually knew, that I could put my finger on, that I could talk to, that I could relate to, that just played heavy on everything that I did, that I tried to strive for and to do. And I know he's not here, but his brother's here. But my mother's sister was actually married to Raymond's brother, so he was almost family. So I just want to say thank you to him. Again, God's plan. I had a successful high school career. College career didn't go like I said as planned. Looking back, you want to go professional, and I was never the most athletic, and I definitely wasn't the smartest in school. I just knew that if I brought a C home, my mom wasn't gonna let me play, and that's all I really knew back then. And it's funny because I had several classes, and I had a few classes with my sister, but she would tutor me, and I would actually get a better grade than her. And I don't actually know how that worked, but I actually would get a better grade than her. And so, but like I said, that God's plan for me, was not to go play professional ball. His plan for me was to serve. Like I said, I was a trooper, and now I'm Secret Service, but to serve my country. And I feel like, no matter what you want in life, God's plan, He has His plan for you. And these young individuals in the back, just work as hard as you can, and know that if you're working hard and your mindset is right and your life is right with the Lord, that there'll be some opportunities open up for you, and you just got to be prepared for those opportunities when they open up for you. I don't know if I'm worthy of this award, but like I said, I appreciate it more than you know, and thank you so much to the committee, and God bless you. Thank you.
Gary Peanut Adams, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to you. And what a great tribute you provided, especially for your mom and your wife, and we appreciate that very much. Roland Young, thanks very much for that introduction of your cousin, and certainly we thank student escort Emma Dawson, senior at Central High School. The next individual being recognized is Mark Arnoldy, Kickapoo High School class of 2005. In his teens, he was an overachiever, a trait that still describes him today. In high school, he served the student body at Kickapoo as its president and was involved in Future Business Leaders of America. A trip to Nepal in his college years, where he personally experienced a medical crisis and had limited access to health care, led to his career in social entrepreneurship. Now in just his third decade of life, Mark is the CEO of Possible, a nonprofit that delivers integrated primary health care throughout rural Nepal. Those who know Mark and his commitment to designing healthcare systems to make sure the poorest and most marginalized people receive proper care now share their highlights of his accomplishments in the following video.
So Mark's been a leader ever since I met him. He was the president of his class. He was a great student, liked by everybody. He was the kind of guy that would just, go out and do something. And I think that you knew that he was going to go out and do something in the world that was pretty special. When I was in college, I saw that Mark was working with malnourished children in Nepal. And to just see that somebody that grew up across the street from me was making this incredible impact around the world was truly amazing. And then over time, what he's done has kind of evolved and grown. Really, he's now doing healthcare throughout rural Nepal, and something that you or I wouldn't think about the need for that. And then a guy like Mark, who's taken the initiative in order to just change that, and they've built hospitals, they've created the infrastructure in order to serve those in need. And I think that Mark's a prime example of somebody that found a passion at a fairly young age and pursued it with all of his might. And I think that students nowadays, I think that it's easy to get caught up in what career you're going to go into or how much money you're going to make, but I think at the end of the day, if you can find that thing that you're truly passionate about and pursue it with everything that you have, you can make an incredible impact in this world. And I think Mark's a prime example of somebody that's done that and somebody to look up to.
I met Mark his freshman year of high school. I was a business instructor at the time. I had met him through class and through him being very visible at school. I recognized right away that Mark was very mature for his age. Well-spoken, very articulate. I liked him. He had a great personality. I know that he's very big on nutrition, impoverished children, feeding the hungry. I know that he wants the nutritional value of those things to be where it's helping those countries. I think he's on the forefront of discovering or getting others to discover things that will help those children in need. I always said Mark had a big heart, but he also had integrity and character with
I saw his leadership skills, and several friends, myself, thought that he may become a politician. That's kind of a dirty word today, but with the leadership skills, his ability to stand up and speak, a lot of people said he's going to be a politician someday.
I know Mark thought about becoming a doctor in high school, and he had several health issues growing up, and I think those issues made him more sensitive to the people in Nepal and the need for health care and access to health care.
And if you look at what he's doing, it really involves health care and politics, because the organization he's with now partners with the Nepali government in providing that health care. And so it's kind of we were discussing that, and it's kind of a unique mix of what we both thought he might end up doing at some point in his career.
I'd like to thank both our sons for making us better human beings. They taught us to accept people that don't look like us. They taught us to be more giving of our talents and resources, and they taught us to be better stewards of the earth.
And I'd just like to say that we're obviously proud parents. are thankful for his commitment and his work. I've always thought hard work was one thing that I hoped I could instill in my children, and he exemplifies that. He works tremendously hard at what he does, and we're quite proud of his accomplishments and his work ethic and the things he's done in his short career.
Good afternoon. My name's Sarah Odom, and I had the privilege of teaching at Kickapoo High School when Mark was a student there. I was also the student council sponsor, and then in his senior year, I became an assistant principal over the activities program. So my life at Kickapoo through the years of 2002 to 2005 intersected with Mark's a lot. Mark emerged throughout high school as kind of the perennial class leader and eventually was elected student body president. And as a result of that, Mark and his vice president, Sean Lee, and I got to spend a lot of time together in the spring interviewing potential cabinet members and then poring over, I think, breakfast at various breakfast places around town. I think it was just an excuse to get out of school and eat, maybe. But what the heck, right? We were doing official school business in the process, right? But it was during that time, it was at those times that Mark's character really was very telling to me. It's a beautiful thing. I was able to see a young man who was filled with integrity, as Mr. Coffey had said, was very strategic in his thinking, but that was coupled with a very compassionate heart and a person who always wanted to make the right decision. So it's a beautiful thing to see when a sharp mind and a compassionate spirit sync up with one another. The person who embodies that delicate balance has the potential to truly change the world. Lin Coffey, his FBLA sponsor, Tony Loudis, his student council sponsor, his last year, and I kind of got together and thought, okay, what are words that describe Mark? Here's what came out: a servant, an old soul, a natural leader, persistent, compassionate, a solution finder, curious, a role model, a hardworking strategist, someone who was funny and a bit ornery sometimes. Ask him about the Leaves story, a student council project, the service project that we did sometime, and somehow they ended up in another teacher's yard. A young man, again, filled with integrity, a servant leader, and a friend. I'm very, very, very blessed to call education my vocation. Every year I get to witness the potential in our students, and it is always my hope that they can find their purpose, their calling in life. But potential and purpose without focused action is merely a dream. Anyone who's in education knows that true joy comes when we are able to witness that marriage of potential, purpose, and action. That's when the magic happens, and that's when we as educators are most proud. So it is with great pride and much joy that I welcome to the stage the 2017 Hall of Fame inductee, Mark Arnoldy, escorted by Kickapoo High School student Destiny King.
Thank you, Sarah, for those beautiful words. I still have a hard time calling my former teachers by their first name, except for Lin Coffey, because I like to call him Lin when I was a student, just to annoy him. That was that ornery part. I did something dangerous today. I decided I wasn't going to prepare a speech. I decided that I had a pretty interesting schedule. I was going to be afforded the opportunity to drive down Campbell Street, reflect on my upbringing here, and also as well this morning I had a chance to talk to students at Kickapoo High School. And so I want to reflect on a few of the themes that sort of washed over me today. But I want to start by just saying Gary's speech really reminded me of this simple but profound idea that lives of service depend on lives of support. And I do want to thank a few people specifically for providing that support. Lynn, Sarah, Randy and Melissa, Tom and Darlene, of course my parents, and everyone who has been involved in the Springfield public school system over the years. Jim, for the incredible leadership you've provided. And last time I made myself and my parents cry, I'm going to try to maybe take a little different approach. Last time I had the good honor of being in a room with Jim, led to a place where there are a lot of tears. So Mom and Dad, I hope you don't feel undervalued today. I'm just going to take a different tone. One of the things that Sarah mentioned was a delicate balance. And I will say I had a lot of uplifting moments at Kickapoo, a lot of incredible learning moments at Kickapoo, but that balance is delicate. I remember breaking down, for the Kickapoo students in the back, I actually was in tears in my English teacher's room senior year because I felt it all overwhelming me. I was trying to be a leader in the student body. I was trying to figure out college. I think I might have been having things going on with trying to figure out what would go forward with my relationship when I left the state, and it all overwhelmed me. And I actually remember breaking down in a classroom in tears after school, and it was just a teacher who was there to help me get my head on my shoulders, see things clearly, and move forward with some confidence. And I think when I think about what happened today in talking to the students, I was really drawn in particular to one question that was asked of me. A student, she raised her hand, and he raised his hand and said, do you miss being away from Springfield? And I sort of joked with him that I often have learned to talk about my work by starting to say I'm a long ways from home, because I do live this very weird sort of lifestyle that I never had imagined, where I spend a bit of my time in New York City, a bit of my time on the other side of the world in Nepal, so maybe some of the richest and some of the poorest places in the world. It's all mixed together, traveling constantly. Gary, I know that feeling. And trying to hold it all together, and it's a big, interesting whirlwind, and it's a great privilege. But I was struck by that question because I've realized that as I get a little bit older, I appreciate the value of home more and more. And there's sort of this temporal relationship where the further I get away from Springfield, the more I appreciate it and the role it played in my life and the values it engendered and how it shaped who I am. And so I think a lot of accepting this great honor is trying to in return, honor the home and where I am from as I go forward with my life. And so what I shared with the students this morning, I said, I was definitely one of those stubborn kids in my senior year. There's a group of me and other guys who were like, we're going to leave Springfield. We're getting out of here. We're going out of state for college. And that was sort of our mentality. And I said, now I look back and realize that was really a short-sighted and foolish way to think about Springfield and my home, because this place has been incredibly valuable to helping shape who I am. And I think there's layers of sort of roots of this foundation. There's the culture of Springfield and this region of the country that is special. There's the school system that is particularly special. And then there are those individuals within the school system. And I just feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for all of the value that was brought forward in my life from those layers. This is the foundation of support, right? If lives of service depend on lives of support, Springfield couldn't have been a better base for me to try to put in some roots and figure out how to blossom from there. But I think some of the things I've been reflecting on as I've spent more and more time away from Springfield, and my parents are still here in the region, and I get to come back just once or twice a year, is that there's this really understated magnificence about this place. And what I mean by that is there's just an understanding that you work hard, that you do the right thing, that you proceed in the world with some humility, and you don't carry a big ego. It's not quite like New York, a little different. And I think as I've gone forward in my career, I've met a lot of people who didn't have that kind of upbringing, who didn't have those roots. And I think I have a lot of credit to give to this place, this school system, the individuals I've met that I've mentioned today, to thank for that. It's not automatic. It's cumulative, right? These values just didn't exist day one in Springfield. They didn't exist in the Springfield public school system. They were built, they were carved, they were sculpted. And it's the work of many, many thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that created that culture, that created this sense of home that I'm so proud now to be associated with. And so I think I'll kind of wrap there by just saying, for me, this is hopefully something that I can return many times back. I think similar to Gary, it's an award I'm not sure I'm fully deserving of. I'm 30, and there's a lot of time where I could really mess things up from here. So in honor of that foundation and all the people who've built it for generations before me and everything that will exist generations after me, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to try to return it to the world. And I'm just so deeply blessed and grateful for everything that this community has offered me. And I think it's fitting that we'll be able to leave this at home, no matter how far I find myself away from it. Thank you.
Mark Arnoldy, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations again, Mark. And Sarah, thank you very much for that introduction. And Destiny, senior at Kickapoo High School, thank you for being our student escort today. And Stan, I think Mark is a politician in the most positive sense of the word. The final Hall of Fame inductees are 1965 Hillcrest High School graduate Gary Presley and 1966 Hillcrest High School graduate Patricia Presley. An unexpected meeting during a fire drill at Hillcrest High School led to 50 years and counting as husband and wife. That union began a partnership that made their family's name synonymous with Branson Entertainment. When Pat said yes to Gary's proposal, she had no way of knowing that Herkimer, the character Gary portrays on stage, would still be delighting audiences 230 shows a year while she manages things off stage. Please direct your attention once again to the screens to view a highlight video of Gary and Pat's accomplishments.
Well, I got to know Gary in high school, Hillcrest, and we were both on the basketball teams at Hillcrest, all the way from the freshman teams up through the varsity teams. Really felt like Gary was a pretty funny guy, even at that time. He was always kind of the life of the party.
I think almost everybody at Hillcrest thought they were Gary's friend.
We stayed in touch over the years, even after high school. Gary became really involved in his family's show in Branson.
And then I was in the Highlanders, which is a drum and bugle corps, with Patty. She was a high-stepping, pretty member of that group, and they knew they were meant to be earlier than most couples.
Just proud to have been a friend all these years, and Gary's been a bright spot in my life, and been proud to know him and maintain our acquaintance throughout the years, and I think this is a great tribute to his life and the success he's had as a graduate of Hillcrest.
They both of them, Gary and Patty, deserve it, and they just exemplify the best of the Ozarks, the best of Springfield, and we're just happy for this recognition, and we love you guys.
Patty and I met at Reed Junior High School. We were in the 7th grade, and of course the school was so new to everybody, and I found Patty and she found me, and she was one of the sweetest girls I ever knew. Oh my, she is the most wonderful person. She's sweet, caring, and very generous. Well, both of them are very energetic, and they were never in trouble, and very good students. Patty and Gary both were good students in school. And I think if anyone wanted to talk to them about school or had any problems, they could always go to Patty and Gary. I just want to congratulate Patty and Gary for all of the work they have put in, for all of their generosity, and most of all, for all their friendship.
Hi, we're the Oak Ridge Boys. We'd like to take this opportunity to wish the Presleys and the Presley Theater a 50th anniversary. Yes, well, years ago when the Oak Ridge Boys were first coming to Branson, there was a dark night, Sunday night, and we would go sing at Shepherd of the Hills Farm. Of course, that's outside. So if it rained, we came to the Presley Theater. That's when we first met the Presleys. They've been going strong for 50 years. Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations on 50 great years. What you guys mean to Branson, what you mean to the Ozarks, really what you mean to the state of Missouri and to America is amazing. You're a great American family, and we're all proud. I say this for everybody in our family and the folks at Big Cedar, everybody, Bass Pro, and this whole part of the country. You're an amazing part of what our part of the country is all about, and that's just folks having fun and being very genuine, friendly, great people. And we couldn't be more happy for you.
What are the odds? 2 inductees named Gary and 2 gifted athletes. My name's Doug Reese. I'm a member of the Hillcrest class of 1966, and it's my honor to introduce to you Gary and Pat Presley, fellow Hillcrest alums. I'd just like to point out how strange it feels for me to be on the stage and the Presleys to be in the audience. This role's been reversed, I don't know how many times, but it feels pretty strange. Not bad, but just strange. I thought I might cover a couple of details that you wouldn't have learned if you saw the Presleys on 60 Minutes or on Good Morning America. Just a few things about their time at Hillcrest that I like to call before the glory. First, Pat was outstanding in algebra. I sat right behind her in Algebra 2, and I was not outstanding in algebra, so I had an appreciation for how good she was. Second, we've already been brought up that Gary was a gifted athlete and on the Hillcrest basketball team, and Ben Fine, who's here today to help honor Gary, was assigned the job of guarding Gary in basketball practice. And Gary had such smooth moves on the basketball court, according to Ben, that he earned the nickname Swivel Hips. So that was before Herkimer. He was Swivel Hips. You've heard the story of the fire drill, of how they met in a fire drill, and obviously fire safety was not the first thing on their minds when they're standing side by side. There was no fire that day, but I think you'd have to agree there had to be a lot of sparks for that marriage to last 50 years as of April. Congratulations on that. And a couple of things about their marriage. First, I think that you'd have to say that Gary's smooth moves were not confined to the basketball court after meeting Pat at a fire drill and then becoming married, and here they are 50 years later. And second, I think you'd have to say, I don't think there's ever been a more productive fire drill in the 150-year history of the Springfield Public Schools than the fire drill where Gary and Pat met. The Presleys opened their theater in June of 1967. I got to see them that year. And in June of this year, I had the honor of taking my grandkids, the 5th generation of Reese's, to the Presley's Theater, and that was an honor, and I'm proud to do that. Gary and Pat reflect wonderfully on Hillcrest and on the Springfield public school system. I'm very thrilled to see them go in as a team. I think they've been a team ever since that fire drill back at Hillcrest High School, and it's only fitting that they be inducted into the Springfield Hall of Fame as a team. I'm also very, very proud to call them my friends for all these years. And now, please welcome Gary and Pat Presley, 2017 Hall of Fame inductees, to the stage, escorted by Hillcrest senior Allison Green.
He shouldn't have kissed me on that fire drill.
You're thinking of somebody else. That wasn't me on that fire drill. You know, we've been in business in Branson for over 50 years. We do 6 nights a week, about 10 months out of the year. And like I said, we've done it for over 50 years. We have a television show, and we've been on 8 years. We're nationwide. We have about 400,000 people that watch us every week. That doesn't bother me. This bothers me in front of you all. You all make me nervous. But we went to Branson. We were married in '67. And we went to Branson and bought a little plot of land out on Highway 76. It was 3 miles outside the city limits. We bought, not many people know this, we bought, they had a farmhouse, 1,000 foot of frontage on Highway 76, and we paid $15,000 for it. Now, you can't buy property in Branson for $15,000 anymore. So anyway, we had a little metal building there. We had, I think, 365 folding chairs. They were Kansas folding chairs that we had bought from Shepherd of the Hills that they had been using. And some of them were rotten. And the bottoms, and we'd be doing a show, true story, and occasionally you would see somebody disappear in the crowd. They would fall right through the seat, right to the floor. Now, that was in the days when you didn't get sued for everything, you know. So everybody laughed about it. And anyway, we've had a good time all these years and hopefully help build Branson in the tourism business here in Missouri. And we met so many people. I don't mean to take over here. Yeah. We've got.
I'm used to it.
I don't like to try not to name drop, but we have met so many people. I mean, huge names. Got to work with them, become friends with them, and it's just been an amazing 50 years. Pat had a speech worked out. Oh yeah, she did.
Well, this mic's a little tall for me. I wanted to let you know I don't have a great speech, but yesterday I was running the vacuum cleaner, and I came up with the best speech you've ever heard. And I made it all through the house, put the vacuum cleaner up, went to the show that night and didn't remember a dadgum thing I said. So I guess I should have brought the vacuum cleaner. But we want to say thank you so much and what an honor this is. Such an honor to us. 2 kids that came from Springfield. Our families loved us dearly. But as far as having riches and lots of neat and nice, wonderful things, we didn't. We survived. And we're so proud of Springfield. And hopefully we have made you somewhat proud of Branson, because we always let them know that Springfield is really our home. Down deep, you go back to your home. Why Why am I crying? It was just the vacuum cleaner. Oh, well, I'll let him introduce our children. We have 3 sons, and their families are all here today. And I do want to say something about our sons. Without them, I don't think we could have gone on. Hang on. I don't think we could have gone on and been as happy as we've been for the last 50 years. These 3 boys now can take over that theater and run it just about as good as we did. So we're so grateful for them. And for right now, we have other family members here, but I'd like for our 3 sons, their families, to please stand. I'll let you get Steve.
You make it tough to follow when you've been crying, I'll tell you. Also, but it's the whole Presley family. It's not any 1 or 2 of us that's made this thing work. It's been the whole family. Down there, we don't make decisions. One person doesn't make a decision. It's the family as a group. And we have the rest of the family here too, or a lot of them. Steve and Rayanne. Rayanne was mayor of Branson for 8 years. Yeah, stand up if y'all would. And the rest of you, Barb Lancaster, and Janice, were you? That's her sister. Anyway, give them all a hand. They are. Steve and Rayanne are co-owners with us, and they just, we just all work together. We depend on each other. Barb Lancaster is our main secretary. I don't know if that's a proper term, but just secretary to me. She runs the business. She truly makes us look good, so we appreciate that. One other thing too, God, Gary mentioned it. We look back at our lives and at situations, and the whole thing's been a dream. Well, the whole thing hadn't been a dream. There's been a few nightmares down there too. But anyway, you look back, you don't know at the time, but you look back and you see where God had his hand in so much. And we're so thankful for that.
You also look back and see where he let us do it on our own. And that was the scary time. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Hey, I do want to drop one name. Like I said, I won't do that, but this is one of the strange situations that we've run into at our house. What's it been, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago? Our doorbell rang right before the show started. We went to the door, and of all people, Jerry Springer was there. That's what we thought too. He was coming to the show that night. Kelly, our daughter-in-law here, he wanted to meet some of the family, and we were the closest ones around. But anyway, Jerry came in, and he was very polite, very nice. We had about a 30-minute conversation. And other than that, there's no end to that story, other than Jerry Springer probably doesn't show up at many people's doors. So anyway, thank you all so much. The school system here, our whole lives, that's most of our education anyways, through the Springfield school system. And if it wasn't for that, who knows? I might be roaming the street as a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. So one other thing, yeah, you're going to.
Now I forgot what it was.
Okay. Well, also, we have classmates here that we graduated with. We'd like for all of them to stand up. Classes of 6, 5. Yeah, stand up. Give them a hand. They really know us, and that's what bothers me and scares me up here. So anyway, thank you all so much, and everybody that was involved in presenting us with this award, Teresa Bledsoe, Becky Volz, of course, Doug Reese, Barb, all the work you did, and just everybody. Thank you so much. Come see us in Branson. We'll be there tonight. There'll be several hundred people, and we'll work you in. Thank you.
Gary and Pat Presley, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations again. Doug Reese, thanks so much for your introduction, and we thank Allison Green, student escort senior at Hillcrest High School. Pat, how appropriate it was. I think you were thinking about your remarks yesterday as you were doing the vacuum cleaner, because you've been cleaning up after Gary for over 50 years, so how appropriate it is that that happened yesterday too. Folks, I thank you for attending the 8th Annual Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame Awards Luncheon to celebrate these outstanding Springfield Public Schools graduates. Today's inductees each took a different path in life, but all their paths began at Springfield Public Schools. I think all of our inductees would agree that achieving their goals and dreams was in part impacted by the dedicated educators who made a difference in their young lives. Then, as adults, they in turn could make an impact on the lives of others. If you're a current or former teacher, please stand so that we can recognize you for your dedication and service in educating the leaders of tomorrow. So teachers, past, present, please stand. Let's recognize these teachers. We thank you for your service and your dedication. And let's have one final bow and one final round of applause for our Springfield Public Schools Hall of Fame class of 2017. Gary Peanut Adams, Mark Arnoldy, Gary and Pat Presley, would you all stand? Let's recognize you. Please stand one more time. Let's recognize you. Sponsors, we thank you once again for your support. Again, the presenting sponsor, 417 Magazine. Additional sponsors, Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, Maddox New Prater, Esterly Snyder and Associates, Positronic and Ozarks Coca-Cola Dr. Pepper Bottling Company. A special thanks to sponsors AdSmith Marketing and Advertising, as well as KY3, who helped produce the wonderful highlight videos for our inductees this noon hour. And finally, I'd like to remind you to be on the lookout next April for information on how you can help determine who will be inducted in the 2018 Hall of Fame class. I thank you for attending this day and your commitment to Springfield Public Schools. And remember, if it's good for public education, it's good for our community. We are adjourned, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful fall day. We're adjourned.